is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rob G Takes on the World of Sports. Today, I'm bringing in a friend of mine's and an amazing content creator by the name of Look Back Lugo, but you guys can call him CJ. Welcome in, man.
What's up, man? Appreciate those kind words, and thank you for having me. I'm excited.
No, of course, man. So, CJ, you got over 300,000 on TikTok,
Yep.
amassing over 20,000 on YouTube,
Yep.
and what, 30 on Instagram?
37,000 followers on Instagram right now.
Wow, man. So, tell us about yourself. Tell us about the journey. What's it been like so far?
You know, it's been a 2-year journey. Now, I started like senior year of high school, and I've just been at it every day, or at least trying to. That's when I've seen my consistency, but it's been fun.
So, CJ, when did you know content creation was a realistic career option for you?
I feel that no matter what you do, it's not real unless you put the work in. So it doesn't matter what job you have. I know I have a pretty fun job, but you have to put in the work. So as soon as I started putting in the work and then seeing the numbers, that's when I realized, oh, okay, I could do this for a living.
No, for sure. And definitely, like, you put in the work. Throughout that span of you being consistent and putting in that work, was there ever, like, a specific moment that made you realize, yeah, this is real, I can do this?
To be honest, man, there's been a few. It's really when I've gotten those big collabs with people I used to look up to.
Yeah.
Last week, I was in California with a big YouTuber. He has over 30 million subscribers now. His name's Jesser. And, that was big for me because it's someone I looked up to. And now that just showed me that, I belong because I'm in the same room as them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so how did you get in contact with these collaborators? Is it something you hit them up? Are they hitting you up? So how do you go about that?
It's all about taking the lucky shot. For example, with Jesser, his management hit me up, but that wouldn't have happened if I didn't find his management on Instagram and been in their DMs for the constant call logs before, the casting logs, sorry. And, for a couple other examples, there was this other YouTuber, DC Heat, who invited me to be a part of his big show on YouTube, and I wouldn't have gotten that experience if I didn't drive up 4 hours to be a part of this event that he was collabing with. I didn't even know he was going to be there.
Oh, wow. So you just showed up not even knowing he was going to be there.
Yeah, bro. And, I just showed a lot of my personality there. And he ended up following me back and reaching out to me like 6 months later. But, it's just taking those lucky shots.
Definitely. So you've grown a strong following on TikTok and Instagram. What has helped you build that momentum?
Consistency. I know everybody says it's such a cliche, bro, but it's just posting every single day. Like, the main thing about short form content is you just want to be on people's screens daily. Even if they're not watching it, they start to recognize that face. And I feel like that's how anybody can, transform to their long form content or like the streaming content. But it's just about getting in front of people's faces.
So for the people at home, what content or posting habits do you believe have helped your engagement the most?
Posting habits would have to be posting every day, like I said, consistency. And then just also seeing what the people like, looking at the data to see, when people are leaving, how long people are staying. Even for just like a short TikTok, I do 1-minute TikToks, I'll see, okay, 20% of people watch the whole thing. And that's important, getting people to watch the whole thing and not just leaving the first few seconds. Also getting those likes and stuff, being relatable. Relatability is a big thing when it comes to short form content, because if you can get people to share the videos with their friends, like, you're going to get in the algorithm and, you're going to start to pick up the views.
And yeah, so you are very consistent. You try to post every day. But the question that I have, and probably a lot of the viewers have at home, how do you come up with these ideas and how do you maintain that creative mindset for your skits?
Man, that's the hardest thing, Besides posting daily, which is super hard, it's hard to constantly come up with ideas. At least that's how I feel in my niche, being a basketball content creator and doing skits for the most part. Like, it feels like every idea has been done. But, it's staying in that ChatGPT, for one. ChatGPT will give you good ideas. Definitely. And, just, again, trying to be relatable, try to be trendy. Something... after this, we're going to film a TikTok about something with the NBA playoffs. If y'all want to go check that out, see Rob with his acting skills. But, yeah, you just got to stay trendy, give people what they like, I guess.
Definitely. So, what role do you say AI or the use of it has had on your creative process over the past years? Have you seen it growing? Have you seen it diminishing as you get more used to the process?
Yeah. Yeah, AI's been a big tool recently, with ChatGPT being a great friend of mine, just constantly asking it, oh, for a script maybe. And it's not like I'll use the script, but it starts the idea, it gets your brain rolling. And before I would have to just look at other content creators' ideas, try to work off that, see what's trending. Because, nobody's ever had an original thought. That's not how it works.
That's how it works. TikTok will tell you that, man.
Yeah.
TikTok will prove to you that you do not have original thoughts.
Yeah, indeed. So it's just, trying to stay in that ChatGPT just to get your brain rolling, for real. Yeah.
And so you mentioned how you've collaborated with these massive creators, but how has collaboration played a role in your videos? Like, how do you go about involving others in your videos and your skits? I know you had the Road to an LBA championship. That was one of the first ones, and you've evolved from that into doing the brown shirt skits. So how do you incorporate the people you collaborate into those videos?
A lot of them are my friends, just people I see daily because I'm trying to post daily. So if I'm not flying out to meet like another creator to film content with them, it's just trying to get people who I know have a good personality and who are just down to help me film content, in my videos. And, it feels rewarding to them, I'd say, just because, they like being a part of it. And it's also just finding people who want to help me, who want to see me grow and are willing to help me. Because at the end of the day, a 1 minute TikTok's not going to hurt them, even if they have some social anxieties, like problems, like they'll still be willing to help me because they just want to see me grow and they believe in me. So it's more on them.
Yeah. So we talk about how your friends have helped you and how your consistency has also helped you to get to the point where you're at right now. But I'm certain there has to have been some drawbacks or challenges along the way. So could you tell us what have been your biggest challenges in staying consistent so far?
Well, I'll tell you my biggest challenge right now. I film skits all the time with my girlfriend. And now she has a full-time job. She didn't have a full-time job before.
Oh.
So now it's like my acting partner is just gone. I can't film as much with her, or at least I have to double up on times I see her. But, we'd rather just hang out and stuff. It's not all about business. So it's kind of just finding people to film skits with on a daily basis. Now, that's my problem right now. Yeah, that's the issue I'm facing with at my current time.
Yeah, so you mentioned how in trying to maintain consistency and posting with your girlfriend, you guys now have that difficulty or that challenge of having to film more content when you're together because you don't know when you'll be together again because of her job. How has that has that caused a strain in your relationship, and if not with your girlfriend, with other people?
Not in my relationship, because I always make sure to, put our relationship first. Like, if we're hanging out for an hour, I'm not going to use half of that time to go film a skit, I'm just enjoying my time with her. And to be honest, that's not what would put a strain in my friendships or anything like that. I usually have already separated myself because I have to get my stuff done when I have free time. Hopefully it aligns with their free time, but I got to get my stuff done so I can, keep that momentum. But I wouldn't say I really would cause any problems with anybody. I wouldn't say that I have any problems with anybody who filmed with me. It's you want to help me or you don't.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. So, CJ, you're so young, and you've got this mindset that has definitely just skyrocketed you to the success you have right now. There's not a lot of people your age or our age that have that mindset and are willing to compartmentalize having fun and creating content or locking in. So what's your process been like? How have you feel like you've set yourself apart in that sense?
It's the isolation, bro. Like, if you don't isolate yourself from others to just get a clear mindset and be able to write down what you want to do, you're not going to get far. At least that's how I feel, because I need to write everything down so I can start checking it off during the day to see that, I'm completing stuff. And then after weeks of that, you start to see, okay, the results.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't isolate myself, that wouldn't have never happened, because, you start to put other people's activities in front of yours, when really, if you want to make it, you got to put your own your own goals in front of theirs, and then with that, like, it doesn't leave you much time. You're working so hard. Now you have to spend time with your family.
Yeah.
I got a girlfriend now. It's with my girlfriend. Doesn't leave time for friends. So it's really just making the main thing the main thing.
How do you deal with negative feedback or comments?
You know, I just don't look at them. you know, like, I don't look at the bad comments, and if I do, this is something I tell everybody. Like, you can't give them power, because if you give the bad comments power, if you give the good comments power, you have to give the bad comments power.
Yeah.
So, even the ones that are complimenting me, like, I don't let it get to my head. I have zero ego. I just put all those comments aside. At the end of the day, it's someone on the screen. You know how it is. Like, it's not going to affect me. Not
Yeah.
my daily life. They don't know what goes on outside of the screen, outside of the skits.
Yeah, funny enough, I actually just saw TikTok. I think it was DDG, and he was saying to this kid who does interviews, I think in Brickell or like somewhere in downtown Miami. The kid asked him, how do I make it? Or you see me so young doing what I'm doing. What advice do you have for me? He said, get haters. Get as many haters as you can.
That's true.
You know you're doing good when you got haters.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, and haters lead to engagement. If they're willing to comment, hate, it's only going to boost the video. So, yeah, that's very true.
Definitely. So, CJ, what's something your audience doesn't see that goes into making those 1 minute videos?
They don't know how long it can take. A 1 minute video can be so complex that it takes me an hour or two. And another thing, I make them outside on a basketball court, so they don't know that I have to account for the weather. It's hot in Miami. I got to wait for clouds sometimes, so I'm not outside burning, getting a farmer's stand. So they don't really know how many little details goes into making these 1 minute skits. And then that's just the TikToks and the Instagram reels. Imagine the YouTube videos. Those, I've realized, are complete productions. I have to get the cameraman. I have to get sometimes an open gym or certain actors for their schedules to align. It's hard. It's like running a whole production team yourself, but, it's possible. You got to put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of work involved. And so with that, I kind of want to know, what's your proudest moment in content creation so far?
My proudest moment? Oh, that's deep. Okay. For me, I just recently hit 20K, but reaching 10K was pretty big, because that's always been a goal of mine on YouTube, by the way. And, that also came from the short form videos, I'd say. If you post enough short form, you get enough followers for that. But that was pretty big. I'd also say the DC Heat video that I was in a couple months ago, just flying out to Washington to shoot with a whole lot of creators in my niche, that was big. That was like the best networking event I could have ever gone to. So, those two were kind of big milestones for me that just showed that, okay, I could do this and I belong here.
Definitely. And so, what does the future of content creation look like in your eyes? Pivoting. I got to pivot to a bigger platform like YouTube or Twitch, if it's live streaming or long-form content. Those are both things I know I can do. But you've seen all the rumors, bro. TikTok might get shut down. At least that's what they say every 3 months. So I'm just making sure that I pivot or put enough work into pivoting into these platforms to where if I am left in the dust, I have something to fall back on. So it's just, working on my monetization on YouTube or on Twitch to where, I have another source of income. Yeah. So, CJ, I'm curious, when did you know content creation was a realistic career option for you?
Bro, for me, there's been a couple of milestones, but last year, 2024, like early January, I saw this Instagram post from my favorite content creator saying he was throwing a park takeover. For y'all who don't know, it's just like when all the creators come to like hoop. And I decided to drive up there, just me and my cameraman.
How long was the drive?
4 hours, 4.5 hours, something like that. And, with a day's notice, I had to call off work too. And me and my cameraman drove those 4 hours. We were there 2 hours early. We had to wait for them. And, I didn't even get to be in their video but I got to meet the creator he was collabing with. Not my favorite content creator, but the creator he was collabing with. And 6 months later, he hit me up because he got my Instagram from that event. And he said basically from just that little time that I met him in January that he liked my content, that he liked my personality, and that he was making this new YouTube show and that he'd love for me to be a part of it.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that whole experience was fire, bro, because it was like he didn't fly me out or anything. I had to pay for my own ticket. But just the chance to finally, be on a bigger platform. He has 1 million subscribers on YouTube, 100,000 on Instagram. And, have a chance of showing my personality was great. And that was crazy, bro. I flew me and my cameraman out to Washington. We had to stay in like a trap house, bro. But, it was fun because like 20 other creators were there.
Yeah.
And that just led me to see like, okay, this is how these creators live their life on a daily. They're just regular guys. They just like basketball and decided to pick up a camera too. And it just showed me that I belong, bro. And it became real when in the show, I performed good, bro. Like, I didn't necessarily win any games. The concept of the show was like NBA 2K, but in real life. So we were all like wearing the apparel of the 2K players. We were all playing the games to the certain amount of points the games would be held to in the game. But like on the last game of the season, I was in the finale. And I went crazy. Like I had half the points of the winning score. And I basically carried the guy who won the show. Like he wouldn't have won that game without me. So that was kind of cool because they were all praising me after the game. The content didn't necessarily go viral. It got like 150,000 views on YouTube, which is good. But it was projected to reach like 600K to 1 million. But just being around those creators, bro, and showing that, okay, like, I'm not the odd one out. Like, I'm just like them. Like, that I belong in these rooms. That made it pretty real, bro.
So take me back to when he hit you up. What emotions were going through your head when that moment happened?
I didn't see it coming. Like I said, like, I drove those 4 hours with my cameraman to just meet the other creator. I was kind of fanned out, like, and I'm never fanned out, but I just took pictures with them. I told myself 2024, I'm not taking no chance for granted. So that's why I drove up. And then going there for that creator, and then this other creator hits me up just because he barely saw what I did. Like, he barely really saw my personality. Just those little times he saw my personality was enough for him to give me a shot. So when he texted me, and I opened the link, and there was like a 10-minute video with him and his production team. Like, that was crazy to me because I was like, okay, wow, for a YouTube video, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have to stay in this certain house. By the way, I had to fly out there twice because the whole first shoot got cut. It was like a practice run, which cost them at least $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, just for a practice run. So that showed me, okay,
that goes to
levels.
show you the level they're on.
Yeah, there's levels, bro. And, yeah, getting that Instagram kind of felt surreal. That Instagram DM with the link and everything, it felt surreal, bro.
Definitely. And so a lot of people do content creation for different reasons. Some people do it because it's a passion, some for the money. What would you say you do it for?
Bro, it's definitely a passion of mine. Before I even, would think about it becoming my career, it's just, I've been doing YouTube since, the 5th grade, And I honestly, I'm mainly a TikTok creator right now. I didn't even like TikTok. When it was popping during, quarantine, I would kind of look down on it. I always wanted to be a YouTuber. But that passion of just, making videos and then the adrenaline that came with it of, okay, people like it, seeing the view count go up.
Man, let me tell you, I be getting 1,000 views. I be so lit.
It's fire, bro. So imagine 100,000. You're like, wow, that's a football stadium.
Yeah.
Just watching me, hopefully making them smile. That's what came with it, For me, if it was off camera or on camera, I always feel like I'm on camera, just trying to make people smile. And yeah, so just the passion of making people smile is what carried me so far.
Tell us about your first 1 million view video.
You tell me my first 1 million view video. Was it that LBA video? The one I made with the collage of the LBA that went viral? I'm pretty sure it was that one.
I think so, yeah.
It was that one, right? Yeah. That one was crazy because, I just came back from church camp and I just had the feeling, yeah, let me post this video. This song was trending. 2 hours later, it's at 100,000 views or 200,000 views. 5 hours later, we're at the park. We're literally at the park. 500,000 views. damn, it's picking up. Now, like a year later, it's at like 4.5 million views.
Wow.
But that video, especially because it meant so much to me, because it was like a collage of something like that meant so much to me. It was crazy. Like, I'm not gonna say that motivated me to like continue making the videos, but like it was just a great feeling because it reached other platforms too. Ballers Life, House of Highlights reposting the video. Like, it was cool to just be seen by that many people.
Most definitely. So CJ, you've taken content creation to a whole nother level over the last 2 years. You have brand sponsorships. You have done collabs with different companies. Tell us, what are you working with right now?
There's a couple brands. This podcast studio, I'm an ambassador for. Shout out Nucleus. We appreciate y'all for always letting us use the studio. True Height. True Height's always a good sponsor of mine. There's a few other little ones that, I'm not, it's more of like a one-time collab, see if it'll move forward. I have 361 Sports. They make shoes for like Nikola Jokic. I have Temu, which actually don't have Temu because of all the tariff drama going on in the United States. They had to revoke that for now because, they can't really, it's going to cost them more to help me out, But yeah, those are just a few. A lot of Kicks Crew, a lot of like basketball shoe collaborations for now. Yeah.
So we talk about the brand collaborations, but I'm a big believer in speaking things into existence. I don't know about you, but right here, right now, CJ, what is your dream collab?
Oh, you're saying dream collab, and I'm just thinking about how we were talking about Canes, but that's not my dream collab, but that'd be nice, bro. Dream collab. You see, Nike's big. That's too big
Nike's
to think. If we're dreaming really big.
Hey, but you could go both ways with this. You could go creator. You can do
a brand. Okay.
You can do both. Honestly, tell us both.
Honestly, bro, I feel like I've collabed with everybody in my space. In the basketball space. Basically, I've met everybody. So maybe not venturing out to like other not basketball creators. That'd be cool. Maybe like the AMP guys, get somebody from there. One. Kai Cenat, obviously. Like, just even being a part of his stream, even if it's just a clip, bro. Even if it's just a short clip, TikTok's all about clips now, bro. So if it's a clip of me telling Kai Cenat, oh, you stole the LBA from us. Or,
yeah,
that's a story for another time. But Kai Cenat took the LBA from us. Overtime, stuff like that. I've been to the overtime facility, but like, getting a sponsor from them would be cool. I just met Jester, but maybe like a Bucket Squad like collab, just getting sponsored by some like clothing brand to where, I can just deck out my closet, bro. Like,
that would be awesome. And I mean, hey, we're seeing it now. You have the Nucleus Grove shirt on. Tell us about that.
I'm always just repping them as an ambassador of Nucleus, trying to kickstart my podcast and just, help them out. We're out working together constantly. We're going to throw an event later this month for the NBA Finals that, you'll come back down for. And it's just constantly having that, you said it earlier, that brand, the water bottle. That brand placement. Yeah, just having that brand placement, I want to get to the point where I have my own merch and there's nothing else that I wear. But until I have that, true community, I'm just going to keep repping my brands, bro.
Yeah, man, we love everything. I love everything you're doing, not only as far as your content, your consistency. You're a role model to your friends. You're a role model to your community. You're always at the park. We go out to play basketball. You see all the little kids trying to talk to you. Look Back Lugo. They call you Tyler Hero sometimes. It's awesome to see how you inspire not only those you are in direct contact with, but those you haven't even met. And so, man, I just want to give you your props, give you your flowers. You're only at the beginning. You have so much further to get. So, yeah, man, I just want to tell you I'm proud of you. Any messages for the viewers?
I know I'm young, but it doesn't matter what age you are. Just keep going, bro. Like, you can start whenever. I could be doing this for the next 10 years, be complacent, and then when I'm 30, it could be one clip that gets me viral, and then your life's set. It's hard to get the momentum, but once you have it, it's a beautiful thing to see, bro. So just keep going. And if you're thinking about posting, post consistently if you're trying to do it as a job.
You guys heard it. Look Back Lugo. He's only gonna keep getting better. You guys should go subscribe to his YouTube channel,
Hey, thank
his
you. Free
TikTok,
plug.
and his Instagram. They're all under the same @ That's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching another amazing episode of Rob G Takes on the World of Sports. Make sure you guys watch the last episode and stay tuned for the next one. Have a great day.